that is in the Daju leading Sangbo Topi Tintelia down the Chiki and Dei to Yada, Duma said, and Dalai, the basic horse, and Lam said, Lam Rim Text, says she. Is in the Lam Rim Text, just not in each other, say you could long for a tambo or them. And the ringi and Sambo Toba Tela, that chicken Yamlin Chishane, Tarbada, Tamchi Kimbu, one the bottom of the Jigminus and Bigi, Kuno Dinesam Dache, Dinza, and Lam Yamlichi Seada. And they are under Rangachibu Mayembache, Rang Nashin, and Stoa Semja Tamche, Dewa Debata Duma Mituba Chibare, the Enzada, Rashin Semja Tamche, and did Dungada Jawada, Tiki Temper Shows and Bigi, and the Jamnichi Samda, Diana, Tikita Tempada, and the Dunga Jawadi, and me, Chigins that didn't go of you, needed Chigins, Tini and Zangi, Sanjokoba Toba Chigins, Toba Shows and Chikitana, Chanchu Semkiada. That will not deny Chenedan, Sanjokoba Toba Shows and the Sanjokoba Tobia Dondala, and the Karen Yamnichi was in it, she's not Lam Rim Basumli and Yamnichigins and Bigi, some Danading to kissing that or do the shit in the race and kissing did Shirua.
Last week we started to look at a new Lam Rim text called the Essence of Refined Gold. We spoke about that on the basis of this particular rebirth that we have attained, not just as a human rebirth, but a precious human rebirth, we have this basis that we can use to achieve our innermost wish, and that is to achieve a state of lasting happiness, a state completely separated from suffering. And the way to do this is through the various practices that are described in detail in our text here, in this Lam Rim text. And we also spoke last week about how the starting point is before any activity, in particular now when we're looking at a new text, is to establish a motivation. So in general, when establishing a motivation, we start out by reminding ourselves of this preciousness of this rebirth that we have. In other words, the preciousness of the opportunity that we have attained in this life. And that if we don't use it to progress well towards the eventual attainment of liberation from suffering or even enlightenment itself, that would be inappropriate. That would be a great loss. So that is the first point in the generation of a motivation, to remind ourselves of our situation. Then the second is, having generated this wish to utilize our opportunity well, we turn our attention to others, reminding ourselves that they are exactly the same as us in wanting to be free of pain and difficulties, the same as us in wanting to only experience states of lasting happiness. Moreover, I am only one person, whereas when we think of others, others are innumerable across the realms of all the human beings and animals and unseen beings. The others are innumerable. And therefore, it's inappropriate to only strive for my own welfare, but I need to also ensure that I liberate every sentient being from suffering. When thinking about the suffering of others and their desired wish for happiness, we use this as a basis then to generate the minds of love and the minds of compassion to the point where the love and compassion arises in us in a sense that is so powerful and dominates us so that we see it as our individual responsibility to free others from suffering and to lead them to a state of lasting happiness. So in this way we generate the minds of love and compassion and special intention, taking responsibility for the welfare of others, and then committing to becoming the most skilled of guides, a Buddha. So at this point we generate the mind of bodhicitta, committing to strive for enlightenment for the sake of others. And then the third point is, how does one fulfill this wish to attain enlightenment? So we've generated a sincere wish to attain enlightenment for the sake of others. So what does one do to achieve that? One practices the various methods or techniques laid out here in the Lam Rim. So those are the three divisions or the three parts of a motivation that we should regularly establish.
Lam Rim Chembo said, chepe masi gyachimbu shu sun yorde ji sasan su ji donda ningbo su dubaina da jangchu Lam Rim chenpo sa deres jisan nyama sangye chasan Lam Rim di nyamlen cheche lam yi rimba di nyamlen cheche sangye bares an dada maomba sangye yin ya lam yi rimba di nyamlen cheche sangye ba ma do di lam yi rimba de nyamlen ma cheche sangye yo mares jisan ane dada nyamlen cheche shimba sangye shimbi ki deso yin kar nyamlen chigo da nyamlen chigo ra labna ane janchu lam yi rimba di nyamlen chigo res jisan dini yin zan janchu lam yi rimba di da sangye tamje ane sangye salaya gopang towe ke sangye gopang towe nyamlen che zo di da janchu lam yi rimba se jisan sangye tamje ane sangye ke lamga ane lam rim di chibu re se da.
In the many years that Buddha Shakyamuni blessed the world through presenting his teachings, he gave a vast array of teachings, really a huge number of teachings that he gave. These, though, this vast array of teachings that the Buddha gave, these have been eloquently condensed into the Lam Rim tradition. And so what is found then in the Lam Rim tradition is a condensed summary of the entire Buddha Dharma, the entire teachings that the Buddha gave. And these teachings then were the roadmap or the path that the Buddha himself practiced in order to attain enlightenment, in order to actually become a Buddha. And these were the practices cultivated not only by himself, but all beings who have become enlightened. And not only that, but all those who are currently progressing towards the attainment of enlightenment are practicing these same practices that are condensed in the Lam Rim tradition. So this Tibetan word Lam Rim is stages of the path, or to give it its fuller name, stages of the path to enlightenment. So this is the method. These are the stages of the mental paths to be developed to attain the goal of enlightenment. All past Buddhas have practiced in this way. All those who have already developed and are further developing these mental paths are practicing these same stages to attain their goal, enlightenment. And therefore, as practitioners who also have a wish for enlightenment, we too need to develop these same mental paths. So other than this path or this roadmap that's laid out in the Lam Rim tradition, there is no other technique that can take one all the way to enlightenment.
Denegi janju Lam Rim chenpo se di lam yi rimbe nam sha di denegi an pe ma se za chimbo sangye ko ma thoba la di nyamlen che ko go di nyamlen ma je na sangye yo ma re jisa nyama sangye gen di nyamlen jin sangye wa re ma ba na di nyamlen jin sangye ko go re da da sangye ge nyamlen ji sangye ko ba to nyamlen chi gen di Lam Rim nyamlen chi go si go re an deni che ba na Lam Rim di ani denegi za chimbo ya bu khung yumchen 양다바 가리요래 사지 콩준버로 콩준버라는 금전 양다바 가리요래 사지 하고와 가리요래 아니 지금 미다 지당 넘준능아 저기 대화 주야다 동아 세 던달이야 아니 최시간 망부요래스로다 망부요로다 제니게 안 결혼의 디날이야 람 시우네 될이야 체벌도 파고게 연대로 가리요래 사지 안되니기
제로 타마카리 연탄 데디고
케벌도 파봐 근데 람 이름바 시겐다 대화를 줘야다 디기 줘야다 타바 토고레세 시님 치료비 덤바다 데니 덤바 망고여로 와다 송고로 다 지산 결혼기다 람림 될이야 안 차코론지기네 차산라 안 코론도 쿵리레 셰란 결혼들레 디 람림 될 안에 될이야 연데 케벌도 파봐다 가려요 해야지 다 데니게 고 디워로 지리기로 와다네.
What we heard last week, and I've just summarized here, is the importance that is placed on the Lam Rim tradition. And it's always said that the Lam Rim is comprises the entire path that is to be cultivated by those who want to follow in the footsteps of all the past masters, of all those beings who have attained enlightenment, those who are currently developing themselves so as to become Buddhas as well, So us as practitioners who have the wish to also be counted amongst the children of the Buddhas, in other words, become bodhisattvas and eventually Buddhas too, we need to practice the stages of the path to enlightenment, just like all those others have done too. So we've heard this said in this series of teachings, we've heard it in previous teachings, and the statement, though, that is often made needs to come from or be based on sound reasons. Because for this, the emphasis on the Lam Rim teachings to be valid, it has to be based on sound reasons. Because all religious traditions present techniques for the development of happiness and the elimination of suffering. All religions do this, and non-religious philosophies present techniques to develop oneself spiritually, to develop and strengthen one's happiness and eliminate problems. So what then are the particular great qualities of the Lam Rim tradition in terms of the source that it comes from? So what is the source for this statement that the Lam Rim tradition presents the entire path to enlightenment, the stage of unsurpassed happiness, of perfected happiness, a state where no faults remain? So that is a question that should arise in one's mind.
Papa shi yimba dang said. That got us worse than that. Dambo dal Yamlen Cheg, Thomas, Dambo, Yamlen Chegi, Karin Chewa, and the Tarbada, Tamji Kimbi Govantoyala, and the Kewachimal Hadam Govantoya, and Dile Tava Tarbatoya, Dile Lava, and Sanji Govantoyagi, Yamlen Dambo, Yamlen Chegi, Yamsulaya Dela, Che Delia, and Kung Zumba, Gumsen, Yanda was your ass, Kung Zumba. And Delia and Yenten Cabot Papa Chiore, Sigur, that Dondala, Dilla, Tomar, Yamsul Lambi, Kung Zumba, Cabot Papa, she Himbatan said.
On the first page of the text, the fourth paragraph down, Lam Rim is an especially profound aspect of Dharma, for it is a tradition of practice sound in origin. The sound in origin is what is being explicitly explained here. So in this verse and the following verse, this is what is being looked at, establishing the reasons why the Lam Rim tradition comes from a sound origin and is a valid there is a valid reason to rely on the set of teachings that are presented here. And so we've heard about the three goals that the Buddha Dharma leads one to, encourages one to strive for. In other words, the goals that one is required to have in order for a practice to be one of the Buddha Dharma. That is, to attain a good rebirth of a human or God, or to attain liberation from suffering, or the attainment of enlightenment. So Lam Rim is the basis of practice for the attainment of these three goals.
다 콩좀마 데네게 데네 중어도 콩 김제 야고 여버네 다 김제 야고 여네 딜람 딜이야 냠레 딜이야 차상 가지고 그래서 맞아 람 가시 때네 차상면은 디기 주비하게 자식 되어서 봐지 안 강하세게 람 차상지 매봐이나 안 디하지고 마 차상 가지면은 안 동안 차상 세두고 말해 안 강하 디기 차상 두고 말 와서 저 차상 가지고 그래서 류용수 줘봐 아주 밀마서나 아 저기 레가야고 제발라 아니 류용수 줘봐 거와 양라 찍마산 강발하고 찍마산나 차산 마산에 차산 레가야고 두고 말아 되나지 그 남기 냠는 제기 고야기 차상지 차상와 고고래스 차상와 연애 지금 말에 만화와 주고 그래 차상와네 ya nyele nyamne jawa de jel ma she jel nyele pa tu je no ne she ja ba na ni di go ma res jesa cha ji yimba ji ya mano wa gorim de mano ma chu ba da ji gu go re je le da.
Reading further, it has neither fault nor shortcoming, for it is a complete practice perfectly uniting both method and wisdom aspects of the path. So this is an important point, because if a particular presentation a particular presentation which is given motivated to eliminate suffering and achieve happiness, if it is incomplete, then one's spiritual development is of course going to be limited. One will not be able to eliminate suffering. One will not be able to therefore achieve uninterrupted, lasting happiness. So this could be likened if someone doesn't have their complete physical limbs, then this will serve as an impediment to them in their lives. So similarly, a spiritual path needs to be complete, otherwise one cannot achieve one's final destination. And similarly, if the presentation contains errors, or the presentation isn't in the correct sequence of practice, then even if the practitioner diligently applies what they are being trained in, they will be making mistakes. Moreover, they may be practicing in a mistaken sequence, an incorrect sequence, and these two elements will also prevent one from fully spiritually developing. So therefore, the path of spiritual progression, the Lam Rim, it needs to be both complete and unmistaken. And that's what this presentation is.
And Lama Digila, Lam Korong King Person, Haumason Lamna, the Gimzen Adaba Chagoma, Lam Dawang, the Yam Jape, Yahu or my share, or Yahu or Shed, and Miji do a Yahu and Yahu, they can say, Dick Junkun, Ganis Jumarelana, or the Lama Digasungu setting, a Lama descended Yamba Yi, the Lama Digasungu set. And Lama de Sun and Lama Dig, Ganin Yambers, oh, the Haumason said, the Lama Koron, the King Guru, as a Haumason. If
you're discussing the Dharma with friends, whether they are Buddhist friends or not Buddhist friends, and you are presenting something that you've heard or you've read, and you're saying, oh, I heard this in a teaching or I read this in a book, and this Lama said this and that, and the person asks, so why is this correct? Why is this a good reason, a valid reason? And then you left not actually with anything to reply, then this shows a grave mistake, or a grave mistake in one's understanding. So in this instance, one is presenting a particular practice that you've come across, but are not able to give good reasons to back it up, but are merely saying, oh, I've heard this from someone perhaps with a great reputation, or I read it in a very inspiring book, then one's source cannot be, the source that one is quoting cannot be used as a valid reason. One requires a genuine source and a valid reason in order to be able to not just back up one's assertion, but to use that as a basis to dispel one's own misunderstandings and one's own doubts.
And the Sora Yapo did Sora Dine Yapo me, Yapocania Dumba, the Kukimia, Yapoca, Imba, Jimson Carelana, this Sora Menkin, men Sukin, 냠시 냠매스에 미드베 마세 캐바 침부 지어레스 지상 캐바 침부 그런 거 쇠바레스라데 아니 그 캐바 침부 그 쇠바인자다 넣어야 말했어 김전 디고 그래 그 캐바 침부 김자 가려는 그 냠아 롬망비링리 매기 후토네 냠십시오 제제 매이고 냠십 제제 되는 그 롬망비 그런 게 냠십지 냠뇨사제 근데 그 쇠바레스 지상 디나를 쇠고 디니 소라디니 튕겨랍도 내가 저기 차상기 아니 맨들이야 이시체 맨디 베주다야라 차상 베주지기로 와 베주제네 나 베주제바네 내가도 나저 자야나 차상 자투고 지상 콩준바 베로지 맨일 막선나 가지고 콩준에디 맨디 약보래 너 주마 말에 약보래서도 안디 유비 김선 소라디네 템바를 소라데 약보래서 소라디네 약보인자네 소라디기 맨 주마다 내가 뜬요 말서 다 소라디네 약보인 김자가서 디나는 맨즈겐 약보 휴주어래서 디면전에 약보 미김자 가래서는 그 롬망비를 그런 냠집제제 그 장도를 냠집제제 그 차상하고 그래. 제가 내내 인자 그 수행을 했을 때 디 공매일 마서나 약보 미 공 다보르지 디차거로 와.
And this point that we're making here, this is something that you do apply in one's everyday life already. For example, if a friend knows that you're ill and they recommend some medication to you, and they offer this medication to you, you'll ask several questions. You'll ask them, well, first of all, you'll probably look at the packaging. You'll ask where they got it from. Maybe you'll look at the brand to see if you've heard from it, or heard of this company. And if you have a few doubts, you may look on the internet to see what research has gone into the development of this medication. And if you're looking at the packaging and it looks a little bit suspect, you ask where it was bought from, and the answer is not so reliable, maybe just someone on the street. And you look on the internet to see what research has been done, and it seems more anecdotal rather than a research based on knowledge and experience. Then maybe you're not going to take this because you know you're taking a little bit of a chance. On the other hand, if it's recommended to you by someone that you know has knowledge and experience and is a trustworthy source, and you fulfill the prescription at a reliable pharmacy, and you know that, you can see from the packaging and the company that made it, that this is probably something that one can consume with confidence, then one will do so. And that is because one has trust based on the source from which the recommendation came, as well as who made the medicine. And therefore, you know that the source is based on knowledge and experience, and there is this degree of authenticity. And that then is a valid basis for trust.
Lam Rim 냠는 제 안에 고 장주 셈나 동요 도베 셔라다 저 냠는 제냐 동화세야 당 디기 주비에게 털어야 상이 줍는 데 냠는 제 로망버 가와지 근데 상 코로나 상계네 상계송아래 상계네 차상 코로나야 냠내지는 냠뇨 싸와래 지상 코로나게 차상다 동화 간스 빵고고도 디기 간스 주고도 동화 가르가르도 대파야야 삼로 간스 곰고고리에 세데 데네 코로나도 냠집제 코로나게 냠지 타르 친제 아니 코로나게 집어 차상 빵제 빵고야 차상 빵 하고야 신고야 차상 신네 다 제상 상계 송화래서 상계 제상 코로나게 상계 좀는 디게다 냠뇨 손에 송화래서 제상 데네자 콩제 말해서다.
And then this sound in origin, this sound origin is the reason for that is then presented in the rest of the verse. It provides all levels and grades of the techniques passed through Nagarjuna and the Sangha, from the practices meant for beginners up to and including the final practice before full Buddhahood, the stage of non-practice. So the source, or the sound origin of the Lam Rim teachings is Buddha Shakyamuni himself. And why is Buddha Shakyamuni presented as a valid basis for these teachings? Because he taught from his knowledge and experience. He wasn't teaching based just on what he had studied or he had heard from people that he considered to be reliable, but he also taught from his own experience. For many years he went through great difficulties, eliminating sequentially all the faults in his mind, developing all his mental good qualities, to the point where all inner faults were completely eliminated without leaving not a trace. And all inner good qualities were developed to the point of perfection. And that's where enlightenment is attained. So based on this experience of achieving this perfected state, he presented the Buddha Dharma. And therefore, this is seen as a valid or a genuine and authentic source.
Dine sunyo de anta saji ge sunyo koron nyamnin che ane nyamnyo ten sunyo de yawo shu res de den yawo yu res ina sanyo jumen de sunyo lo mang shu ro sa lo don na ni don la ro sa re an da de nga zo nyamne che de yawo shu res de ni ma yawo na da de ba da kyun cha ju che ane ji no gyo yu gi ro yawo kan sung gre se ja jo ni ba shi li ro.
You may then hear this and think, well, that's all good and true. I'm sure the Buddha achieved something amazing and fantastic. But this was 2,600 years ago. And that's a sizable span of time. Is what he taught then, from his experience in the ancient forests of India, is that still applicable to me in this modern time? So such a doubt may well arise.
Dine ge anda nganzu da de nyamne je Lam Rim de yago kan se yongre le odi yores yago yongres de sanje sungyo de da ra ji bu ji ya re no de le kyun sho yo ma les da yago mi jumjan ga re lam da den ma sanje ma sung lu ru gombo lu ru dang pa ba thomi khorong ni ye nyamlen je da sanje jumnen de sung she gyo de le khorong ni ge nyamlen je sanje jumnen de ge nyamlen je sanje jumnen de khorong nyamyo sa ba na shin Papa told me that Gumuluniki, Yamlenchi, Koronsu, Yamyosa, and then Ma, Jino Koronsuki, Maloma Yarimba, Ma Guichi Machi, and Tame Lianazuki, George, Georgelma, and George Yamlenche, that George Abuela Page, and George Korongia, Loman Masu, Yamlenche, Yamlenche, two Jen and Ma Guichi, and Nazuki, the Giluba Lamaina, the Jeremichipardo, and Jeremichipardo. That's Jeremichi, you Loma, the Sigi Yamlet, Rimbachi Yamlet, two Jen and Yamlet, and Yamyong Rimbadi, Dada Bardo, Yunba Chebaji, do say later, yes, she's not Dineza, nor I almost did up a chatter, yes.
Whilst the Buddha did live in this world a very, very long time ago, his teachings were presented to a broad audience, and they continued to be taught to further generations, and not just taught in theory, but were put into practice by those who received the teachings directly from the Buddha, and then to their students whom they taught the teachings to. Each respective generation heard the teachings, studied the teachings, and meditated on the teachings, and thereby attained similar results. And this progression of the lineage continued through great lamas such as we see here, Nagarjuna and Asanga, who studied the teachings of the Buddha, practiced them, and attained similar results. And then in later generations, Lama Atisha took those two lineages of teachings, and when he traveled to Tibet, he presented both of them. And he presented these two lineages in Tibet, establishing the Lam Rim tradition as we have today. And many great teachers within Tibet received these teachings, studied them, put them into practice, in other words, gained realizations of them, and achieved similar results, and taught these to the next generation. And this permeated all the various Tibetan traditions. And if we think of the particular case here of the Geluk school, then this lineage has continued from unbroken from Lama Atisha to Lama Tsongkhapa, and then through to a long succession of accomplished masters down to our own teachers in the present day. So due to this unbroken lineage, we now can be confident that we're still receiving the authentic teachings of the Buddha.
Tele Cabardo Pava Yenden Carriore said, Tizan Sanyi Chu Janju Lami Rimba de Cabardo Papa Yenden Carriore Lana, Tizan Denigi Carriore Lana Denigo Kung Zimbigi, Janju Lami Rimba de Sosuki Yamlen Chevaina, Denigi Chu Yamlen Chidu, Yamlen Chidu, Kiwu Namji Duden City, Kiwu Duden Garalana, Duma Sea, Digi Ruerwa. Dunga say the Digi Druagi and the Dundadi and the Yamlin Cheva in the Lam Rim Nana Supanashin Jangazuki, Yamlin Jacom Javaina, Mazu Dunga de Sigores, Dunga Sigore, and Digi Tutores, Chesa, Dede Malubu Juba. They are and Delado Juba, Lamsa and the Tick, Yamlin Gaze, Sosuki, 20 Gaze, Yamlin Shukche, and Digi, Georgia, Gangadi. Dungadi, Joa say 2 hours. The names are Geshe Thubten Rabten. Just not the negative, Rinji Wongi Kevonashires, Rimbochina, Rimbochi Yashoda.
Looking at the first sentence in the 5th paragraph, this graduated Dharma of taintless origin is like the wish-fulfilling gem, for through it, infinite beings can easily and quickly accomplish their purposes. So this then, this line presents the extraordinary qualities of this taintless origin, which is the Dharma. So this is what we've been speaking about thus far. So in the preceding paragraph, we looked at the sound in origin. Here it's translated as taintless origin. And that then is the Buddha Dharma, the teachings based on the knowledge and experience of the Buddha. And here it's likened to a wish-fulfilling gem, or wish-fulfilling jewel that is able to fulfill all the hopes and desires of whoever holds it. So the wish-fulfilling jewel here is this very text, this very Lam Rim tradition. And it can fulfill all the purposes, or all the wishes and dreams of sentient beings. And in our context here, what is the desire or the wishes or the dreams of sentient beings? This refers to our innermost wish to experience only happiness, and not to have this happiness ever interrupted by a moment of difficulty or problems at all. So practicing the Lam Rim, developing these realizations in our mind, this will lead to attaining a state of lasting happiness and elimination of all suffering. In other words, the fulfillment of our innermost wishes. And where it says here, can easily and quickly be accomplished, this makes reference to the pace of our progression. This is in our hands. The more effort and the more joyous perseverance that we apply, the quicker our progress. And in this way, we'll easily be able to achieve a long-held wish of experiencing lasting happiness.
Delado, Convena, Maluba Legdo, Maluba and Mambu Chixi, Mambu Chasan Lavion, new Mambu Yutarva, Chigmadumene Chasan Layo Marva, 제가 되게 말류바지 되게 찍마도 마도면은 말류발아요 말에 제가 말류발에도 되게 망고 예배 따래 제가 전화 가서 말류바 두고래라도 대지 아도 장주 람림바디 현다게 숨비게 람림바를 켜봐도 파바일라로 와 현다 제가 현다게 숨비게 람림나려야 냠는 제바이나 아니 제와지 말 하나 미고마 톱톱아 용구레스 아니 양지그 원시에다 아니 주주라서 봐 톱톱아 용구레스 아니 제와 야하다 수다 수멜이야 기투야기 아니 니바 기투아 용구레스 이나야 되네게 탈바다 산지 고바 톱토야세데 요 말레스 다 람림 대한주 다데 셰게라 산지 좀데 되는마 규제비가 람이름 바데 냠는 제바 있나 디 냠는 제바네 깨와치 말 하나 미고 봐 톱톱 그래 아니 딜에 라바 탈비고 봐 톱톱 그래 아니 수도 수메 토야 돼 인이 받지 아니 디 마세 산지고 봐 톱톱 쳐서 아저리에 밀릭 되비된 가라서는 아주 디기 거야 돼 제 디기 두야라 하나 미고 봐 톱네 디기 두야 직 되비돼 딜에 라가 아니 띵기 되와 톱이야다 누가 자원에 방비게 탈비고 봐 톱이야 아니 딜에 하바 다 지미 바차나 제바 빵제 연대 말로 용수수배 산조고 방토비야 데비데 어디 차상다 아 저기 산유 좀데 되는 막 유시송제비게 람림바데 냠술렘바이네 디 차상 토베기 톱투그레스 토베 뚝투그레스 제가 람 샹다게 송제비 때나 덴바이나 데니기 산제고 방나 탈바세 톱투 말에 하다 미고 방토야다 니네 좀 용그리에서 오르다
We don't have the word here in English, but we can add one word here. So in the same sentence, through it, infinite beings can easily and quickly accomplish their complete purposes. And this word complete has some specific meaning. And that is that, so we have our wish for happiness, but if it's not completely fulfilled, then there's of course more still to be done. But the practices that are presented here in the Lam Rim, or in the graduated stages towards enlightenment, these can lead to the complete fulfillment of our wishes. In other words, the attainment of complete happiness. So other systems that teach how to develop greater happiness and to eliminate problems and difficulties, whilst these can lead to greater happiness in this life and perhaps in future lives, they cannot lead to a result beyond that. Whereas the practices that are presented in the Lam Rim tradition, these lead to complete happiness, or the complete fulfillment of one's wishes. In other words, happiness that is complete, happiness that is never interrupted by suffering. So this means that the practices here lead not just to the happiness of a good rebirth, say as a human or a god, but lead to the happiness of liberation from cyclic existence, from samsara. And if one is liberated from samsara, one is liberated from suffering. If one is liberated from suffering, one only experiences happiness. So that lasting state of happiness can be achieved through the practices of liberation, through the practices of the Lam Rim. But moreover, not only can they lead to that, but they can lead to a state beyond that, a state where even the stains of the seeds of negative imprints on our continuum are completely eliminated. In other words, where one attains the state of enlightenment, the greatest form of happiness. So these greatest forms of happiness, liberation and enlightenment, they can be achieved through the practices of the Lam Rim. They cannot be achieved through techniques that are different from this.
rinpoche ongi gyebo, rinpoche mangwe yogi nane, rinpoche yaksho de re si da, za chisho de re gyebo labde, da mi nane da gyebo de za chisho de rwa, gyera chisho de rwa da, zo de rwa, mi nane. Di na xin da nga zuki rinpoche nane, rinpoche zo de se wa, yaksho de re se wa, gyebo dabo labde. Rinpoche nane, rinpoche yaksho dabo se de, nyamlin che gi, nga zuki, 동화 세야데 디기주에게 냠는지에게 냠는지에 림바 망고 여러와다 나도 나베슌네 시데 치르베슌네 시 안데니게 낭베슌네 나는 지기 망고라 디나네다 제다 동화 세야데 디기주에게 냠는지게 림바 망고 예베 나네 다데 산지 쫌데네 마 gyune sanjumne sung shepe lamgi rimbadi yaksho dire so da dena dire.
We also have here the term wish-fulfilling gem. So the particular term that's used here is a less common word for wish-fulfilling gem. Literally, it means this particular word literally means the most precious of powerful kings. So what is being referred to here as the most precious of powerful kings? That is the practices that are found within the stages of the path to enlightenment. In other words, within the Lam Rim tradition. And the reason they are referred to here as the most precious of powerful kings is there are many different religious or philosophical traditions present techniques to develop happiness and to eliminate suffering. But amongst these different techniques, what is found in the Lam Rim, this is the most precious in that it can lead to the state of enlightenment. It can also lead to the state of liberation, and it can lead to the temporary happiness of good rebirths. But being able to lead to these three goals of good rebirth, of liberation, or enlightenment, this illustrates the extraordinary quality of the Lam Rim tradition, and therefore it is likened to the wish-fulfilling jewel, or more literally, the most precious of powerful kings.
That sanju jumne ma sunji lamir bade yakshore la yadu ya dayan minalo as milia jike namdo damara yonsigirwa o dadi koron namba inza yang koron yakshore sin aji chulu da deniki shangwa chene shigin sera samsam yonsigirwa.
At this point, maybe further doubts are arising. So you may think that, yeah, well, you're a Buddhist, of course you're going to think that Buddhism is best. And you're going to say, yeah, others are fine too, but we really are number one. So that you may well think that have such a valid doubt.
Simchen tam chigi dondalya, simchen tam chigi dunga rang dewa dyopa najin, simchen tam chigi dewa dyugo re, rang dunga mi dyopa ne, simchen tam chigi dunga dyugo marwas. Chisa simchen de diin zang rang se chigi re, shen se de pe ma se yachimu shu res. Chisa shen chasan digi yona rang e digi yungu res. Shen chasan digi ma kanga chanya chedun rang e kanga chigi ma to digi yona ma res. Dini yin zang shen samchan tamche le diki dhugore, samchan tamche dunga se gores. Samchan tamche ki diki dhuya da dunga se alya, ta ngay jigin se khelin jeje, so suge samchan tamche sanju gopa topra jigin se janshu semke gores, janshu semke namshadi, deni ki janshu semke namshadi, ta sanji ki sung nala mado, shanda nala me sarwa. Ane tawal ya, ta ngana zugila, nani ngana zu diki dhuya la karikor, ngana zu rangshan chasangi diki dhuya la, dunga se de ganesh yongore la ne yud pa che de nyomo la tin ki gore diya te yu da du ba jimbe da sin rashin du ba jimbe de le tin ki gore sina rashin yu be jimbe bang gu gore di pa ya la ane gar gong gore sin dong bong ye dian jin zhe wo chung sam dan dong yin du be da de gong gore se sa da me be da wa dong yin du be da wa di gong ba na ane nyomo ba pa tu dini dunga se tu kure se de dini gi tongban rashin ma ruba to pe tawi namja de da ane semje tham ji ge danda dunga se ge danda la janshu sem sanju go ba to ba janshu sem namja di da san yu jumne de ge chuen ma do shana la me de me ba yin san yu jumne de ge sun ye ge lam ji rim ba di na lo re ji san yu jumne de ge lam ji rim ba de yak sho yin be yum zen di re so da yum zen di re.
The reason for saying that the Buddha Dharma is the very, very best because it leads to these goals is not a statement that's made from a mind of bias or a mind of partiality. Rather, it's based on sound reasoning. So it's not a mind that's looking, it's not an opinion that is based on looking down at other religions or other philosophical traditions, in that other religions and philosophical traditions have many good qualities to them. But moreover, the specific reasons why Buddhism is presented, in particular the Buddhism that is presented in detail in the Lam Rim tradition, is presented as being unique in that it leads to liberation and enlightenment, can be presented with two branches. So the first one would be to do with we can call method or technique. So this comes down to the recognition that us each as individuals share the same innermost wish, and that is to experience only happiness. None of us take delight in problems and difficulties. We all want to be freed of these. And as we come to see the subtler levels that we experience problems on, we want to be freed of those as well. So we all want to experience only happiness. And this is a view that I as an individual don't uniquely hold, or us as a group don't uniquely hold, or us as Buddhists in general don't uniquely hold. Each and every human being holds a sincere wish. Each and every animal, each and every living being holds the wish to only experience happiness and not a moment of suffering. With this recognition, one can develop this further through reflecting that this is a wish shared by all. If I compare myself to others, I am only one, but all others are incomparable in multitude. If I were to attain happiness for myself, but others were to be left suffering, how could I say that's suitable? How could I even say that was happiness when others were still suffering? So therefore, the liberation from suffering of all beings is my personal responsibility. And to fulfill that responsibility, to develop it to a point where this mere wish can actually have an impact on the happiness and suffering of others, I need to become a Buddha. I need to strive for enlightenment so that I can become a Buddha for the sake of others. And this stream of thinking here is what one engages in to develop the mind of bodhicitta, or the mind of enlightenment, the mind committing to strive for enlightenment. And this is something unique to the Buddha Dharma. So that can be called method. And the second branch is that of view. And the view is also something unique within the Buddha Dharma. And that is where one looks at what is the root, what is the cause of suffering. And one sees that all suffering, or all problems, all difficulties come from karma that we ourselves have accumulated through afflicted minds. And at the very root of these afflicted minds is the ignorance of self-grasping. Having that knowledge, we then know that it's through abandoning this ignorance of self-grasping that we can become freed of suffering. How to do so? We need to develop the antidotal mind, the contrary mind, the wisdom realizing emptiness, or the wisdom realizing selflessness. And then, so this knowledge, this understanding, as well as the technique in how to develop the wisdom realizing emptiness, this is uniquely found in the Buddha Dharma. So for these two reasons, that of bodhicitta, or in English, the mind of enlightenment, and secondly, that of view, how to develop the wisdom realizing emptiness, or the wisdom understanding reality, these are unique to the Buddha Dharma. So it's for this reason that the Buddha Dharma is solely able to lead to a state liberated from cyclic existence, or samsara, lead to the state of enlightenment. And it's for this reason that the Buddha Dharma is presented as supreme.
루르다 토메니 마중률이야 개바 망고 상여 좀는데 시에 슈비가랴 안 저좀 받아들네 망고 여러와 인데스 마송아체 안델이야 루르다 토메니를 주비 림바 슬랍도와스 지사 루르다 토메니라고 임장가래서 삼노실이로야.
Just to look back at the previous verse where it was referred to Nagarjuna and the Sangha. So these were two great masters from ancient India. But one may wonder, so why are they specifically being pointed to here? There are many other great masters even before them, such as many foe destroyers. But why are these two specifically being indicated?
Sanje Jumlin de Yangali de Sane, Lo Shipiel Jelia Jugore. Then Papa Thomas said, Sanje Jumli de Yangali de Sane, Lo Gubja Rode, and then Papa Thomas Chunrua. Says
Lo Gyatso, Guchu.
Oh, I guess Lo Gubja Gubja. Papa Thomas Junior Lo Gubjere. Kumbulu Junior Lo Shipiere. Says Sanje Horan She Shubikala Kaba Patumeba Yore. And that Dine Sanji Dinma, Sanji Shingle Pes Hanada, Lojibia Jella Gumbulu Jure, and Jesan Gumbulu, the Tomeni Lago, you take Arianas and begin some Leonardo di Mura, Dowaruchi.
The
Dopa Tomeni, the Dinma Tomeni, Lurubni, Yusun Wada, Beauty Lago, Gimsen, Dowaligra, Sanya Jumden, they said. Shingle Pes Hanada, Chuchi Jungura, the Sanya Jumden, Shejubika Kaba Mangura. Tesugi Denima Sung Labin was here. Chimalo Tomene, Nalurubni Sung Lago, Gimsan Kares, Sachi Lungua. Chesagas and Tome said, Sanya Jumden, the Shingly Pes and Lo Gubjel Chas and Denishini Jumare. Lurub said, and Sanya Jumden, the Shingly Pes and Lo Shipiel and the Jumare. Dinelia Kaba Mangura, and Tisugim Denima Sung Labin was. And Lurub Tomen Sung Lago, Gimsan Karanas, the Waligra.
Maybe to flesh out the doubt that you possibly are having, is that you think to yourself, hang on, as I've read, Nagarjuna came about, arose in the world 400 years after the Buddha. So certainly there would have been many other great realized beings between when the Buddha lived in the world and Nagarjuna came to the world. It was a 400-year expanse of time. So there would have been many other beings studying and realizing and teaching the Buddha Dharma. And then in the expanse of time from when the Buddha was in the world to when a Sangha came into the world, that was about 900 years. So other than Nagarjuna in that intervening period, for sure there would have been many other great beings. So why are these two being so singled out?
Daddy did Tommy the Lurne Sung Lagui Gumsejo Carriorasene, that did it. Sanyo Jumden Digi, Chusune, Tabachimbi, Chedi, the Chida, go Sung di Tabachimbi, the Mount Sunyadi, and the Sanskrit now Sung, Dia and the Yongra Masumache, and the me Letawa, and the Mother Jion Chanema Sumachi Chadu, Tabachimbi. Tabachimbi said, Sunyagi Sidi, and Sanskrit Kitan, Tama Membichi, the Pali for the song. Taba Membichi Pali Tone, Yongarus. Then Tabachimbi, the Yongra Mayimbache, and Janshu Semba, and the nigger Topoto, the nigger Totu and the Ya, Sonshiki, Yongra Membache. She said, the name is Sonjavata, and the Sanju Jumden de Yangale Dene, Gili Gilisine, Tabachimbi, my Yamcha Shuchavare. Sanju Jumden and Yangale de Sane. Dicelia and Giligilic, Tabachimi Chipa, Yamcha charge bed, Tabamembi Chidi and Yamcha Chayo Marco. Catching a chid bed, Yamcha, you charge, Ben Alam never ruled Charlie.
When the Buddha taught, he presented both the Theravada Dharma and the Mahayana Dharma. And the Theravada Dharma was presented and preserved in the Pali language, and the Mahayana Dharma was presented and preserved in Sanskrit. And after the Buddha's passing, then the Pali tradition or the Theravada tradition, this flourished in the world and became really vastly disseminated. Whereas after the Buddha's passing, the Mahayana Dharma or the Sanskrit tradition, this became quite hidden and practiced in a hidden way to the extent where you could say that it was almost had become unknown in the world. So these two traditions were in very different states. The one, the Pali tradition, was vastly disseminated, whereas the Sanskrit tradition of the Mahayana Dharma, this was in such was practiced secretly, and it could be said to be unknown in the world.
Kingo sang jumne koron gombo zo che nyanglen de se we che ya ane taba chimi chu de ba nyamcha chagi yoba de sang jumne kimba de kenje na sang jumne de gi ane mong ba na se da nga nyang ngi taba chimi ge chu gi nam nyam chi nyamcha ti gi des ane nyamcha te ne ane ji de ngo nga nyang le de se ne lo shib ge che la ane lurup sa de li gi des 제가 루룹세 레죠 코롱기 아니 태바침이 최리 냠는제 이야 아니 이 가소레 코레 얇게 땅 그래스 아니 로국계게 제라 토메세 리그레스 제가 코롱기 야지 태바침비게 다들 냠는제 안티야 얇게 땅 그래스 상유 좀네 디게 마옹 룽된 잡샤 코롱이 마옹 룽된 어디니 룽된 잡 제가 디니게자 루룹다 토메니 냠마네야 디니기 상유 좀네 디게다 디니기 마옹된 잡샤바자 데네 안데 로시 상여 줌네데 냥알레 대산에 로십게 제라 고물루릅세디 페제 니기 안에 타바치미 최디 베마세 아저 베 다캡시부 땅으로 야 공베드 땅으로 안디 제라 안에 다 파바토메세디 로급게 제라 파바토메세 페제 파바토메기 셈zem비기 따위 토네 다 타바치미 최기 냠렌디 이야기 쇼다래 다소죠 어제 데네 수중네다 코로니기 파바토메다 루 코로니기 태바치미 취 니만 템바 마 냠차 티게도 코로니기 야수 가소레 야게 당제 데네서 마냠바지 다드바도 하려 해제래 제가 데네 인자 토메니 루르니 규세야데 디레 제가 파바 루르기기 야서 땅에도 또 지른 잠배양 제 우수 시비 토네 안 데네 마지는 냠는 제야다 안 람르 냠는 제야 지리고래 파바토메기 안 지진 자와 잠바 잠배 줍제 지진 잠바 시에시 안 대전 마 휴체 안마 안에 냠는 이름 받리고 되네 인자 다 토메 루르다 토메니네 숨라고 김전 디레다 세상 코로나 예상이 템버 태버치미 취리 냠자디 냠바디 코로니기 야 냠바 소르슈제 되네 베야 야보 쇠제 되네 거 되네 마 마냠바제 다다바도 냠네들 하디 봐 인자 루르다 토메니리 림인 유라고 해도 김전 디레다
Buddha Shakyamuni, through his omniscience, he was aware about the how the Mahayana Dharma would decline after his passing. So aware of this, before he died, he gave a prophecy, which is recorded in his teachings, recorded in the sutras, that first of all the Mahayana Dharma would decline, and that 400 years later, a man called Nagarjuna would appear in this world. And he would proliferate the Mahayana Dharma once again, and it's almost as if he were to bring it back into the world. And then 500 years or so later, in other words 900 years after the passing of the Buddha, then a Sangha would appear in the world, and he too would serve to proliferate the Mahayana Dharma. And then moreover, Aryan Nagarjuna, he presented in particular, in terms of the differing philosophical presentations of the Buddha Dharma, he presented or clarified the view of the middle way, and that of and then a Sangha presented the view or emphasized the view of the mind-only school. So each of these great practitioners not only proliferated the Mahayana Dharma, but they also how can we say they I don't know, brought new life into, or brought to life again, the view of the middle way and the view of the mind-only school. And these two masters, they also studied with extraordinary beings. So Manjushri taught Nagarjuna, and Nagarjuna again was the one who brought about, not only spread the Mahayana Dharma, but also the view of the middle way school. And then a Sangha, he was taught by Maitreya, and Sangha again was the one who not only proliferated the Mahayana Dhamma, but also the mind-only view. So it's because of these two pivotal masters in the lineage of the Mahayana Dhamma that we have the Mahayana Dhamma still flourishing in the world today. And the lineage we now can clearly trace back from them to the present day. So these are the reason why these two masters, who are our lineage masters, are specifically referenced here in this text.
Gyatso chimbo dawo dance. Chisnada, that the Janju Lam Rim said, Gyatso Nashin res, Masita Cousin Chuyons, Chazan, Zor, Zawa to the Gyatso to or Chazan, Gyatso come to choose the Mevacharo, Gyatso Nashin res. Imbi Gimza Gare Lamna, Taba Chimboda, Taba Chumi Lamni Namja Yamlinchia, and a Taba Chimbugi Lamni Namja Yamlinchia, Chazan. 냠내제 찾아 간지 유업에 고기네 찾아 디다는 뒤에 남림 나래 송샤 뒤에 요레스 찾아 디니 인자 대량한테 깨와지마 하다 미고번 토비하게 디점이 삼다 냠는 제베네 남림 디나래 냠내제 요레스 디네네 대래다 탈비 고건 토비야 안 디니게 삼다지 냠는 제베 토비하게 냠는 제 남림 디나래 요레 딜레 라바는 semjen 탐지기 돈다 산지 고건 토비하게 냠는 제네 that Lam Rim Dinalio, Chesa, Taba Chembo, the Jinda, Chungi, Yamnaja, Lam Rim Chaza, Lam Rim Nala, Dusha, Chesa, Sanyo Jumnanji, Sunyaki, Donala, Sunshaki, Donani Chasa Dina, Dusa, Dusha, Chesa, Denigi, Dusha by the Leper Shepa, said Mano, Martuba, Masanga, Chasa Dina, Yores, Chesa, Dini Yovanza, Dini. Gyatso Naji said, Gyatso Benan Chungshong and the Jidim Benan, Gyatso Naji, Chesan Gyatso Lidi,
And looking again at the last paragraph on this page, combining the rivers of the excellent teachings of both the Theravada vehicle and Mahayana vehicle scriptures, it is like a mighty ocean. So here the Lam Rim, or the stages to the path of enlightenment, are likened to a mighty ocean. The mighty ocean we know is never exhausted. It's continuously replenished by its great rivers. And here the great rivers are the Theravada Dhamma as well as the Mahayana Dhamma. And why then is this referred to this great ocean? It's because this great ocean that contains the two mighty rivers of the Theravada Dhamma and the Mahayana Dhamma, through practicing what is contained here, whatever one's spiritual goal is, can be attained. So if one has generated a fear for the sufferings of the lower realms and desperately wants to ensure that one attains a good rebirth in one's very next life, the practices are here. If one has come to an understanding of how suffering pervades every rebirth in cyclic existence, and if one understands that as long as one remains bound within the prison that is samsara, one will never know a moment of true peace, let alone lasting peace, then one will have the wish to strive for liberation from suffering. And those practices are found here. And if one has taken that understanding and seen that it applies to all other beings, and one hasn't just left that as something theoretical, but has given rise to overpowering love and compassion for others, wanting them to experience the happiness that is separated from suffering completely, then all the practices to attain the state of a Buddha are also found here in the Lam Rim. So whilst these entire teachings of the Buddha, all those sutras, have been abridged into the Lam Rim tradition, these abridged teachings are still complete in that they contain all the practices that are required to attain any of these spiritual goals. So therefore, the Lam Rim, whilst abridged, is complete.
legal masana dalo masana lo chema chi urwa da ngazu ke pengan zu cheshi ru pe ji kyapsa chimo shure ge lega ji gozu ba dalo sawa ji lo dil masana lo chema che wa lo dil chema masana di chema che wa mudi je di mi gu de chasa ma du ba do mudi je lega che wa de cheshi ding go urwa on di na je ngazu ge ngazu ya 디기 주비야 둥아 때네 매바 쇠야 되라 아주 녀모바 아니 방구 거봐 제가 탈바세 토부 거래 제가 다 제가 탈바세 토비알이야 아니 다들 아주 세델이야 아주 냠네 강도루 제 톱투네 야부체 톱투와체 그다 세델 토모도 바네 제와 치마라양이디 되더나라 냠네 치기스 텔레토마나 디 치마델양 디스 냠네 무디제 마도 바동이 무디제 냠네 치긴 셈베게 만서 삼나 주고 요러와다 데네 요반상 당아 제대로 마서나 개와 치마리아 냠는 지긴 라면도 개와 치마 냠는 지기 땡데라 둔조다 냐와데 데네기 깨나 아주 냠는 제 고가 배워 말 땡이 차네 고 냠는 제 투여 허요 말에 제상 최년 요마 최승호야 냐로 깨네 자소 나주디 그러와 치나주데 최시가 요마 냐요 말로 디나시 제상 안 주기 개와 치마라 냠는 제알아야 다들 나신 땡상고 주고 거래 제상 다들 나신 땡상고 더 미점 깨바네 최근에 시선 매간 다 디부장냐 내가 레선 진짜 미지 깨바네 뒤에 아주기 donda 미유도 donda 주투고 말 진짜 니네자 다당 아주 店약고 여바 나신 깨와 치말에네 사다 미店약고체 안디델이야 店del이야 최신년 예배 고급라고 여바 안 최신한 고급 여바 아주 店고급 튕겨 차상 상와지고 그래 진짜 니네 인자 아주기 당이 탈바다 탐지 고바 토발라 제가 냠는 지기 디탈 다데도 톱는 야고 데바면 개와 치말래 냠는 디자 띵켜바체 하다 미고바디 개와 치말 하다 미고바 토발 토구도 삼제 디 토비야게 된다라 다 토고엔 장 디토비야게 된다 유가르 싸고 그래 랍나 아주 수줌 써야 돼 하다 미고바 토 유디 수줌 써야 돼 제가 수줌 송 다 하다 미고바 수줌 송네 다 하다 미고바 토바에네 다 교고시고 당강한 제변에 최지하고 버려고 말아. 네 약고 튕긴 약 최주주에게 냠는 제일이야. 튕긴 약고 영향을야 안 되네. 진바다이 진배 냠는 지야. 안에 마음바다 되니기 마음 주게다 수부 공부 차상 상와다. 안 저게 약고 영향을야 안에随便냠는 지야. 한다 제말이나 다등한 최를 되니 여바나지 제마 개와 치마들에는 최유 되니 배 숙치마 약보 영향라 다등한 주기 최야 준주념이지야 제산다 되니기 체들이나다 체치마이나다 되니기 셈 남양이야 뭐성하지 유 가른 냠는 제는 될이야 제시도 내 투여기 띵이진 거면 어 되니기 삼다에 띵한 주 개와 치마기 냠는 제 하다 미고 방 토여 단추 밀리 고방 토여다 최지야 고브라야기 대응한테 다들 규사에 가르사고 그랬네 수름송 링아 이숨 요번에 잘라 네비 잡아 떠오기는 지금에 선배 수름송에 되래 안에 진배념는 제야다 쇠배념는 제 준리념는 제 또디 디시디 개와 치마 근데 네가라 띵이 좀 주야다 셰랍야 고용해야 되래 다디는 아주 띵이 좀 냠는 제래 셰랍 냠는 제야 되래 진짜 진보 수련 쇠바 준리 삼대 셰랍 디 죽디 냠는 제야 돼 당아도 개와 치마 밀류 토야 된다 삼다나 디 냠는 제야 돼 다 아주 탈바다 탐지기며 공원 토야 제벌에 디 냠는 제야 그래 산제 공원 토야 된다 디 냠는 제야 그래 될래야 다 군노를 막선데 탈바 토야 되라 탈바 돈이 삼비군에 나제 냠는 제야 디제 다 산제 공원이나 타바토에 산조고바 토이지 냠네 제베나 군로 딜라심제 탐지르 산조고바 토바 지인스 잔주심 유군네 라제 냠네 제디 디죽티 냠네 제디 상한도기 냠네 제디 디죽레 제사 람림 나라 차상 뒤제 송샤요레 세디 냠네 제디 가서 딜레 당한서 삼다데
So what we've been hearing here then is that the Lam Rim, or the stages for the path to enlightenment, encompasses all the practices that a practitioner needs to engage in order to achieve one of the spiritual goals, the goals of a good rebirth or liberation or enlightenment. So everything is contained here within this Lam Rim tradition. So then if you want to be specific, because we're just talking here in a general way, from a perspective of an overview, so to be specific now in the closing minutes of this talk, what should one be practicing? Well, in reality, we probably aren't going to attain liberation from cyclic existence in this very life or enlightenment in this very life, which means we will need to continue our spiritual progression in our future lives. So when that is the case, just like in a worldly context, if one has a great goal, then one sets out the various stages that one needs to reach, various intermediate goals, in order to eventually achieve a final goal. So this is the same in terms of our inner development, our spiritual development. We need to plan beyond this one mere life and ensure that we continue to have the required conditions in our future lives. But in order to achieve those required conditions, then we have to create those causes. So if we think of the various beings that we can observe, so we have some familiarity with ourselves and those around us, but we can think of people in very unfortunate circumstances that we perhaps know, we see on television news, or we maybe know people who are in very unfortunate circumstances. Or if we think of beings who in this life are in the animal realms, they have serious impediments to spiritual progression. And in fact, if they're born as an animal, it's impossible to engage in spiritual development. They don't have the intelligence. And not only are their lives dominated by stupidity, but also by tremendous fear. Because animals suffer this fear of constantly being under threat of being caught by a larger animal and eaten alive. So animals have no capacity for spiritual development. And so therefore, to continue our spiritual progression, we need a good human rebirth. Not just any rebirth, because we are aware some human rebirths are also experience really overwhelming problems and difficulties. So one needs a rebirth that is good like the one we have now, where we have physical and mental capacity, we have comfortable circumstances, or at least adequate circumstances, and we can engage in spiritual development. So to ensure that we achieve at least as good conditions that we have in this life in our future lives, we have to create those causes. If we don't create the causes, we cannot expect to experience the result. So what are these causes that we need to create? So the first and the most important is we need to engage in ethical behavior or ethical conduct. And this, in brief, means to develop a mind of restraint. A mind that turns away from harmful physical or verbal behavior, a mind of restraint. So this is the foundational practice, because that is what leads to a rebirth that creates the causes that lead to a rebirth in a happier migration as a human or a god. But so as to ensure that future rebirths, even if they are in a good state, like as a human, but that one has good conducive circumstances to engage in spiritual development, one needs to have at least adequate material resources. And the causes that we need to cultivate to ensure that comes about is to practice generosity, which in brief means to develop a mind wanting to give. And that is the cause. Developing this mind wanting to give is a cause to ensure that we have comfortable or adequate circumstances in our future lives. Moreover, through developing the mind of patience, which is in brief a mind that is undisturbed in the face of adversity, as we develop this mind, it creates the causes that in our future lives we are physically healthy, that our sense faculties, our sight, our sound, etc., these are complete, are not faulty, and therefore enabling us to engage in spiritual development, to hear teachings, understand teachings, and be able to engage in meditation. So these three practices are essential, and for them to have great power, we need to develop the practice or the mind of joyous perseverance, a mind that takes delight in virtue. And this ensures that in our future lives, we will seek out a virtuous path. We'll seek out the Buddha Dharma and a spiritual friend, and want to engage in spiritual development with delight and with vigor. So that is the fourth practice, that of joyous perseverance. And moreover, if one wants to ensure that in our future lives, our minds aren't so distracted, our meditation is more effective, we need to develop causes in what remains of this life to have such a result. And that means we need to try and develop a more concentrated mind, so that in our future lives, our mind is less distracted. So, and then the fifth, that's the fifth, and then the sixth would be to cultivate a mind of wisdom. So amongst these, to ensure that we have good rebirths in our future lives, there are four that need to be practiced. That of a mind of restraint or ethics, a mind wanting to give, that of generosity, a mind that is still in the face of adversity, that of patience, the mind that delights in virtue, joyous perseverance. These are the four that we need to ensure that we cultivate with us in meditation in this life. And as optionals, one can develop concentration and wisdom. And if one has a further goal, if those sitting here want to attain more than just a good rebirth, but actually want to be free of suffering entirely, or want to become a Buddha for the sake of others, those same four practices also need to be engaged in. So that doesn't differ. But moreover, one also needs to engage in the practice of concentration and the development of wisdom. Then, if your goal is enlightenment or liberation, then those six practices have to be engaged in. So it's not these practices that actually that differ depending on the wish of an individual being. The practices are similar, the same first four, and possibly the second two as well, making six. But what differs between individuals is the motivation. If one has a motivation just for a good rebirth, to ensure one doesn't fall into the lower realms, then with such a motivation one just engages in the first four practices. But if one has developed a wish to be liberated, to definitely emerge from suffering and attain a state liberated from suffering, then one engages in those same six practices under such a motivation. But if one engages in those practices, but with a motivation doing so for the sake of others, so that all one's spiritual progression is for the sake of others, then one is engaging in the same practices, but done so for the sake of others. In other words, one is developing the mind of bodhicitta for the sake of others.
pe masi denigi nyamnen che yoba dire skron nyamnen che gorta sejang zulya ji sungores ne sungorwa dine sungba zang zulya sosolya ne namiki denigi lapse nangyu samje sosolana gi ji jesa da denigi semje tamje gi san yokoba thoyalya thobe chidon namgi rimbadi ke nyamnen ji sambada deji sheba na shin ne ma zuya anji churim Shin Lunga Yusum Yukone Shala Neva Chigme, Sempe Samlataya, Takiti Nadine Samdaya, and the Shanley Pembe Java, the Lunga Yusum Yukone Kare, Jumna Jugin Sempe, Samlati Yang, Yana Yano Diadi, Direda, Diringita, and the Lapjeti Resha.
Then it's asked in my Atisha. Again, as I mentioned in the conclusion last week, Sonam Gyatso is presenting this introduction to the Lam Rim here for the specific purpose of pointing out the validity of the origin of this tradition, so as to serve to encourage us to want to hear these teachings, study them, put them in our minds, and cultivate them in meditation each and every day. Because he's encouraging us here to develop this strong wish to repeatedly engage in our spiritual development over a sustained period. And in this way, we will develop spiritually, and we will be, by practicing, just like all the bodhisattvas in the world, and all those who have already attained enlightenment, we too are walking in their footsteps, practicing in the same way as they are, and we will achieve their same goals. So that's the purpose of this introductory part of the Lam Rim teachings. And if we summarize the meaning of what we've heard here, or the meaning of how to practice rather, in your daily meditation, cultivate as a very minimum the strong and stable motivation that today I will not harm others. And in your meditation you develop this mind of restraint, this mind of restraint that prevents one physically bringing any harm to others, or through one's way of communicating or speaking to others, bring any harm to others. So that's the mind of ethics. And then accompanying this, developing a mind that wants to help others. Developing the commitment that wherever I encounter the opportunity to be of benefit to others today, I will take that opportunity and I'll take it with joy, and I'll help others physically. I'll help others through my way of verbally communicating with them. And in this way we develop a mental attitude of wanting to benefit others. So the briefest form of meditation that I hope you generate each day is developing this mind of restraint, this commitment not to harm others in any way, and developing this wish to benefit others, developing this commitment to help others in any way that one can. So we'll finish here then tonight and continue next week. If you have some questions.